Welcome to another episode of Bridging the Gap. And today I'm joined by Kate G, Senior Lecturer in Hospitality, Finance and Revenue Management at Oxford Brookes. Kate, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Jason. Well, thank you for inviting me here. I'm very passionate about hospitality, revenue management, and finance. So I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about the subject I teach. So I have been teaching revenue management and finance for nearly 12 years. So before the teaching in academic, I worked as an auditor in PricewaterhouseCoopers, the leading audit company, for nearly 3 years. And then I worked in Macau University of Science and Technology for 3 years, and then another 3 years in Hong Kong Polytechnic University, plus doing my PhD there. Then after I finished my degree, I moved to Brookes University. So my teaching has been always around accounting, finance, and revenue management. And recently, I have just completed a book. So I put the 3 pieces together. I completed the book with Chris Keating. So he was a professor in accounting in Griffith University. He completed the first 3 editions. I contributed to the last edition. So this is the book, Accounting Essentials for Hospitality Managers. It's very popular in Europe.
Fantastic, good. I love, it's one of my favourite parts of the show, hearing about certainly college lecturers coming on and discussing how they ended up where they are. And some of the stories are, some of the people that I speak to are kind of like they would never have thought that their career would end up as a university lecturer. But is that something that you've always kind of had in mind then, or is it something that if you rewind back, you'd have never have thought you'd be in this position?
Well, it was a purely accident. There was some funny things about it. So I was perfectly happy with working as an auditor, even though it was very stressful. But I thought it was fine. And then my university school classmate asked me to cover her maternity leave in Macau. So I started my teaching with that. But after the maternity leave, she didn't return. And the boss of the school said, Kate, why don't you stay? So I stayed academic.
Fantastic. I talk to so many different students, and when I talk to them about revenue management, there is sometimes a little bit of fear on numbers. Maybe they think that revenue management is actually part of accounting and part of finance, and I have to explain that it's not. Do you come across the same thing with your students, and if so, how do you educate them around the differences?
Yes, I completely come across a lot of confusions on the 3 terms: accounting, revenue management, and finance. Actually, they are very, very different from each other. So I just have like a lay person, like, please don't correct me, professional people, just give you a very lay person's definition. So accounting is about recording the transaction, okay, summing them up, okay, consolidate them, and then present the information to the users. So basically, that's accounting. So in accounting, we have financial accounting, also management accounting. So earlier, when I said the jobs related to compiling the information is financial accounting. The management accounting is about managing the cost, set a price, etc. But the pricing strategy is different from management, from revenue management. Okay, that's accounting is already quite, complicated structure already. And revenue management is more hotel specific. So it basically working on the demand forecast to set a good rate to maximize a hotel's revenue. So it's very operational. The information used for the decision making are not really from the transactions, maybe from the past data, definitely from the past data, but the information are not from the financial statements. Okay, that's revenue management. And then finance is different things, okay? But in our field, I find people usually like to use finance to capture everything related to numbers. But in fact, finance means measure risks and price market securities. So they are different people. So they also gave information to different careers. Like for accounting, they get careers for accountants, okay? And then for revenue management study, it gives career to revenue manager, okay? And the finance knowledge gives career to bankers, for example. So they are very different.
Why is it important for today's revenue managers to have some knowledge of accounting and finance, Kate?
Well, I think that it's a very difficult question. I know that revenue managers are already very busy with their work, okay? And then they have to set decisions, review the decisions so many times a day, and communications with other departments are very time consuming. So I just feel like it's good for the revenue manager to be aware of the financial impacts, because the revenue manager's job is to maximize the revenue of the rooms, even though now hotels are focusing on total revenue, but still, room revenue is the core part of decision making. I think that it would be good for them to have a holistic view about the room's profitability, the room's revenue, sales impact on the entire hotel's performance. So like on profitability or on long-term development. So it's good to build that sense, this overall sense of how a small room-focused revenue on the entire business profile.
Absolutely. I think it's been brought more sharply into focus since COVID, that everyone's looking at the bottom line more and not just the top line. So I think revenue managers, you're totally right, need a more holistic view of the business. They need to be involved in menu engineering with the chef, for instance, working with spa and front desk and looking at costs and minimum selling prices a lot more than maybe they used to do before COVID. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do. In fact, my understanding is that the GMs and accounting staff are more interested in the revenue than other way around. I guess that revenue managers are too busy, they have to face the time pressure every day. So, but after COVID, they definitely have to think about the total revenue and also the costs element. And the competition structure has changed, okay? And then many companies has gone through investment decisions. So it's good for the revenue manager to be aware of the investment decisions going on, okay, and what are the financing needs and what are the costs of these financing needs. So when they set the price, they can consolidate all these factors to make informed decisions. Traditionally, their focus for decision making is on the demand, okay, competitive sales, etc. But now they need to incorporate more information. But of course, I understand revenue managers are very busy, they have to prioritize things, but I just think it's good for them to be aware of these factors.
Yeah, it's the awareness, isn't it? And listening to you, I can really see why having some working knowledge of accounts and finance will benefit someone's career in revenue management as much as we all go on about soft skills and how important that is. And obviously, the day-to-day running of revenue management, but to have different facets and different skill sets can only be of benefit to someone wanting to develop a career in revenue management. Kate, how do you motivate students on revenue management? How do you motivate them and inspire them to dig further into it and develop an interest?
Well, I've been teaching students across Asia, Europe, okay, China, okay. So the finance, revenue management, and accounting, these three subjects are always regarded as the most difficult. So it's not only for the hospitality students, but also for, even for accounting students, they always find some, it is quite challenging. So to motivate students is important. And I do find the motivation is different across cultures. So, for example, in Asia, students tend to be more like driven. So your focus of motivating them is different from motivating European students. So for me, European students like to be inspired. They want to understand why they learn something first. Once they understand how important it is to know this knowledge, they are very motivated to explore by themselves. So I think the European students are more like they need longer time to warm up. Okay, but for the Asian students, because they are very driven, they just go straight into calculation, etc. But I hope they could, focus more on thinking why they have to do this. Okay, so in my classroom, I use hands-on approach because they are European students, right? They're mostly European students. So I have to make them understand how this knowledge is relevant to the real life. So for example, in revenue management, I use a hot simulation program, whereas students can run a virtual hotel, make decisions, and compete other students in the room. Okay, and the system can consolidate the decision and produce a league board. Okay, so each student at the end of the day understand their ranking in the league board, their RevPAR, occupancy, ADR, and other information. So this works really well with the European students. And about finance teaching, okay, again, to teach them, I always start with introducing a real case, okay, first, and then let them think what are the ways, they can solve the problem. And then I bring in the knowledge they don't know. So in the end, they understand, oh, with this learned knowledge, they can fully resolve this problem.
Fantastic. Kate, I know that one of the ways that you inspire your students is by inviting people to come and guest lecture at your university. I myself did it last September, had a fantastic time engaging with the students, chatting to you, delivering some knowledge on the industry at the minute. So I guess that any commercial leaders that are watching, you'd say, get in touch with me maybe on LinkedIn and reach out and see whether we can get them down and imparting their knowledge to your students.
Well, definitely. Well, thank you very much for coming to our campus last year, and our students appreciate your presentation very much. And also, of course, I would encourage everybody, industry players, industry leaders, to come to our campus. Our students always find motivated from learning from the practitioners. So our university is also currently putting forward experiential learning. We also do a lot of field trips. So if any company is willing to open their door to our students or to show the brand image to the students, please contact me. So I will be very happy. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. So it opens the door for our students to the practice.
I think what you do is fantastic with the students in terms of real world learning, the simulation, placing them at, because I know you've got some students at hotels across London and across Europe that are doing their placement time with top hotel companies. I think what you guys do to prepare them for the real world and bridging the gap, as it were, is fantastic. So well done.
Thank you very much. Our students are very successful in securing revenue management jobs, finance and accounting jobs. For example, they work in Shangri-La, Hilton Revenue Generation Center, Mayfair, Accor, Landmark, just name a few. So when I take my students to field trips, almost every place we go, we always find our alumni. So I'm extremely proud of our program. And also our program is very practical. Okay, so our success is built on this valuable connection with the industry players. So please, thank you very much for having me on this channel, and look forward to further collaboration with you and the industry people.
Looking forward to coming down and maybe doing some more guest lecturing. But anyone that's interested, get in touch with Kate, because I really enjoy the experience. Kate, thank you so much for your time. I know how busy you are. You've literally just finished lecturing and jumped straight onto the call with me. So I'll let you go and maybe have some lunch now. But I appreciate you spending some time. That's all we've got time for, guys. Another fantastic show. Like and subscribe, because that helps us.